Final, so this is the Europa League final between Spurs and Manchester United last night. Finals aren't for the playing, they're for the winning.
Who do you see? So there's streaming games that happen, and then obviously there's the bigger games, there's the bigger teams, there's the ones that obviously sell decoders, if you would.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. I mean, sponsors aren't hard to come, aren't easy to come by.
No, they're not. They're not.
Well, sport is about cheating at the highest level.
You think?
It's about getting away with stuff. You know, it's about. I mean, Richie McCaw was one of the greatest rugby players of all time.
You're
also
not
one of the
talking
greatest
doping there.
You need facts, figures, scores, and scoops, and the truth.
I mean, there's that new United song, "You'll Never Win Again." Never walk on. But I mean, it was a final. So this is the Europa League final between Spurs and Manchester United last night. Finals aren't for the playing; they're for the winning. And I don't think United.
Yes, right.
United didn't come in. Oliver Holt from the Daily Mail, a writer I've met a few times, he said that was one of the worst performances ever seen from Manchester United. They were abject.
Look, but every time that they do lose, it's the worst performance ever, says someone out there. So it is what it is, and I think maybe we just make a little bit more noise for Spurs this morning.
Yeah, it was, but it wasn't a great final. It was finals usually aren't, but it was shambolic. It just looked all over the place. It didn't look like there was any sort of structure or form. It was like it was a Jose Mourinho final, where he basically would, just.
But is it supposed to be? Is it supposed to be this beautiful football that is played in a final, or is it really the main goal is to win, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't really matter how you do that sometimes. It's about winning.
Yeah, I mean, can you? What was the last great final you can remember? Nedbank Cup.
No, not even.
Not even. I mean,
Not
the last sort
even.
of FA Cup final I remember that was great was Liverpool against West Ham, where Steven Gerrard scored a screamer in almost like the last minute of the game to put it into penalties and overtime, to extra time, and it was 3-3 then. And that was a game you just go, oh.
Yes. It should be one of those, like where you're on the edge of your seat and you don't know what to do with yourself.
Yeah, exactly that. You have one memory out of it. I mean, Liverpool should have lost that game because there was a blatant handball by the defender. I forget his name. He's Norwegian, but basically the ball gets crushed in. But he stuck out his hand and stopped it with his hand. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, but yeah, I feel for United fans. I mean, I know a lot of them. But ha.
Wow, Kevin, wow. Wowzers. I mean, your team also went how many games without winning? But anyway.
Yes, 30 years. It was like Moses in the desert. But
Yes. So I see why it is that you can,
I can
take the mickey out of the United fans.
But yeah, it's almost like United and Liverpool are the new sort of, it used to be the great rivalry. But yeah.
But Ange Postecoglou, now his future hangs in the balance.
It's
no one
still
is
up and
really
down.
correct. Yeah. I mean, you'd think that like a Nabi who won a Nedbank Cup and ended the 10-year drought for Kaizer Chiefs would keep his job, and that is still question marks. And it's the same here. What happens?
I mean, Dylan Solomons is now bragging. Not bragging. He's like saying, "Listen, we need to finish in the top 8. Otherwise, it's a failure of a season." So, but you've still got You've got a trophy. You've got basically the FA Cup of South Africa.
No, I don't know. I have to agree with him.
Okay.
It's one of the bigger teams. And also you've got to think from a broadcasting perspective.
Yeah.
Right? Who do you see? So there's streaming games that happen, and then obviously there's the bigger games, there's the bigger teams, there's the ones that obviously sell decoders, if you would.
Exactly.
It's the ones that you want to sit and watch, which happens to be Chiefs, Pirates, and Sundowns, right? And Esteles is coming in. There's Kukune United is doing well, Polokwane City. And so whatever the big guys are pitted against, I guess the smaller teams, if you would, excuse me, because there aren't any small teams here in SA. But it's about that revenue that we spoke about, remember? It's about the commercial revenue. It's about what does a Chiefs on your television screen do? It does a lot. Why?
Yeah.
Because it's the biggest team in SA. It has millions of followers, whether they're in the top 8, whether they're in relegation, if you would, whether they're number 1. I mean, they come in their numbers. And so there's magic to that. There's magic about ending in the top 8 as well. MTN 8, for example.
Well,
you
just
understand?
that's a 10 million rand competition.
So
it's money.
It's a lot. And I mean, everyone's like sometimes, top 8, what's a big deal? It's a massive deal. And also, it's about that commercial. It's about the commercial arm at the end of the day. This is a massive club. Massive.
Yeah.
And they have to. And I mean, they haven't been doing really well. I mean, I watched SuperSport United as well the other day, and I'm just like, come on, guys. I mean, you've won the league 3 times. Where are you? Why are you there? But anyway, I have to agree with Dylan. They've got to do something to get into the top 8. And they're playing at home, and they've got to win on Saturday. So do what you got to do, boys, just like you did what you needed to do to win the Nedbank Cup. Do the same thing.
Just start deep. Believing.
Dig deep, man.
And, I mean, if you look at, you're talking about the commercial aspect. So Castle Lager have now come in to sponsor the Proteas for their World Test Championship. And that's because they know that's going to be shown around the world. It's going to be shown in India. It's going to have probably have like a 400 or 500 million people watching it at any given time, and over the 5 days or 4 days, or however long it takes. But it's Castle Lager branding, boom, done. It's Vodacom sponsorship. It's Kappa. It's Adidas. It's all those commercial aspects. You know, you're selling the shirts. You're selling the brand, and you want to be a successful company. You know, you're selling. Even if you're sponsored by Vodacom and playing in the MTN 8, which doesn't make sense.
Look, but Vodacom have been obviously sponsors of Pirates and Chiefs for the longest time. What would you do without those, right? What would you do without the sponsors, the apparel sponsors, Toyota just sponsors who come, you know? Yeah. And I think also in recent years, we've also seen sponsors slowly step away, coming with less money to the party, you know? And that things are being a little bit more harder to sponsor when it comes to Two Oceans, for example, Comrades Marathon, for example.
I can take the Cape Town Cycle Tour. It doesn't have a headline sponsor.
It's rough out there. It really is at the moment.
And that's the Cape Town Cycle Tours get 36,000 people riding it every year, just about. And they haven't had a headline sponsor for an age, you know.
I guess, and then you feel it, don't you? Because then it's not like, it's 200 Rand to enter anymore.
That's 1,200 Rand.
Correct. So you feel it ricochets. It's got like that domino effect that no sponsor, and so who are they going to pinch?
Yeah, exactly.
The cyclists.
That's exactly that. And also the thing about the Cape Town Cycle Tour is that the money, it's an NGO. The money doesn't go to some guy making profit. It goes to the local Rotary clubs. They are partners in it, and also the local cycling development. So yeah. But you're absolutely right. I mean, sponsors aren't easy to come by.
No, they're not. They're not. I think it used to be quite a big, easy game in inverted commas. And then I also think COVID, took a knock. And the world is just operating very differently. Everybody's counting their rands and cents. And as much as I sit here and think, but you're a corporate, you've got millions, they've too got to count, the rands and the cents in terms of what are they giving and what am I getting in return.
So, I mean, about a decade ago, I was in London, interviewed Raymond van Niekerk, who was the head of marketing at Investec globally, South African guy. And I said to him, you guys are sponsoring Spurs this year. Why is that? I said, well, every year he used to get sent a shirt from Manchester United, Liverpool, from whoever was looking for a sponsor with Investec on it.
So that he could see what it looked like?
What it looked like. So
smart.
That year they sponsored Spurs just for cup competitions. And Spurs got into the Champions League the next year. And they had no presence in Brazil. They had no presence, but when they went for a meeting, the guy was Investec. Yeah, we know you. We've seen you on TV. They had no presence in New Zealand. They used to be the headline sponsor for the Super Rugby then. So it was Investec Super Rugby in New Zealand, and they said, "Why do you do that?" Because it gets broadcast on Sky, Super Sport around the world, and we've got this presence. And it was dirt cheap. That's the thing. He said it was a cheap sponsorship, easy sponsorship. Relatively, but I said it got our name out there.
Yeah. There's also a difference for me, a big one, between if it is that this is your CSI project that you're sponsoring versus you're a sponsor.
Yeah, exactly.
It's completely two different budgets.
Yeah.
And for me, I always just feel so hard done when someone's like, but we're the sponsors. No, you've actually adopted that as your CSI, and the money is going from your CSI budget to assisting a football team, for example. Yeah. It's not a sponsorship. It's two different things. So I always get very annoyed.
Yeah, it's all about the ROI.
Do you have any sponsors, Kev?
Yeah, no. Actually, no.
Mixed two of us.
I have underpants older than some people's children.
Oh no, I don't want to know. But thanks for sharing. TMI.
But the Proteas could make a lot of money.
64 million.
That's good. I mean, and even if they finish second, they'll still get 28 million. Is that right? Am I looking at the right one? Yeah. They'll still get 28. So they'll get 28 million rand if they finish second. Sorry, 38.7 million rand if they finish second, which is up from last year. So New Zealand got 28 million when they finished second, but 64 million rand. And I know Cricket South Africa needs some money. Obviously, it's a weird thing with Cricket South Africa's financial books because it goes in a 4-year cycle.
So how come this is more than double than the last 2 seasons? I mean, we're talking about sponsors and exactly they're counting rands and cents, and then you're taking a look at cricket. Or is it that this World Test Championship at Lord's next month just happens to be, I don't know.
I think that
all to do.
They're trying to push it harder. There was a time when there's a thing called the Mace as the number 1 test team in the world, and I forget the guy's name, but he was the head of media for the ICC for a long time. And Brian Murgatroyd, that was his name, and he used to arrive and put it down before a test match, and he put it down in front of Graham Smith once at the Wanderers, and he said, "Graham, what does that mace mean to you?" And he was asking the question, and Graham looked and said, "Not a lot." And he said, but surely having the mace is, no, we're just here to play test matches. But then a couple of years later, becoming the number 1 team in the world, the mace became important. And now the World Test Championship has done that, and they're going to restructure the World Test Championship because it's a bit bizarre that we haven't played Australia or England in the last sort of Test Championship cycle.
So you're saying first, second, third, everybody walks away with money in their pocket?
Well, basically, I think everyone should play everyone at some time. They call it the FTP, the Future Tours Program. So you should play Australia, you should play England, you should play India, you should play Bangladesh. Every test playing nation,
fair,
But then make sure everyone gets a shot. Not just have this FTP where everyone decides who plays who on the basis of, well, listen, we got a little gap between the IPL and the SA20, and then you just play. You know, you need, if you're going to take Test cricket seriously, take it seriously. Don't mess around.
Why, thank you, Kevin.
Sorry.
Shall I drop the gavel?
Lecture finished. Boom.
20-minute red card, already been tried out in a number of competitions. We're talking rugby.
Mm-hmm. The French don't like it.
20 minutes.
Yeah,
20-minute red card is a long time.
But it used to be. So let's say you get sent off in the first 10 minutes, then it would be a 70-minute red card because you have to play with 14 people. So now, basically, what happens is it gets reviewed. If you get a yellow card, it gets reviewed. If you upgrade it to red, that means that player can't come back on. And for 20 minutes, you're down to 14 men, and then another player can come on.
So it's being tested out, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to start now conveniently with the Women's World Cup and the Under-20 World Champs.
Yeah. It's been used for a little while in not Super Rugby, Super Rugby, and also not the Six Nations. What's the other one called? The Rugby Championship between us.
The
and
ERC.
Yeah, and it's been used and it works. I think it works because rugby.
It's such a long time, like 20 minutes.
Well, you think so? If you're playing football, 11 against 10, isn't that big of a danger to you as a possible winner? But it's a big danger in rugby where if you lose 14 men, there's it's almost like vital. I mean, you might lose the big guy or the small guy.
Yeah. But now, so at 20 minutes for me, like I said, long time. But it means that an offending player can be sent off for good, or replaced.
Yeah.
After 20 minutes.
After 20 minutes.
Just so that your team doesn't struggle too much.
Well, basically, if you can last 20 minutes. But you think that New Zealand were down to 14 men against South Africa in the final of the World Cup in 2023, and we still only won by just 1 point. It's sometimes being down a player inspires you.
But then also just don't get the red card.
Yeah.
Isn't that the motivator at the end of the day? 20 minutes is a long time. Don't let your team suffer. Play by the rules. If you're not, don't get caught.
Sport is about cheating at the highest level.
You think?
It's about getting away with stuff. It's about. Richie McCaw was one of the greatest rugby players of all time.
You're
also
not
one of the
talking
greatest
doping
cheats. No, not that sort of
Oh,
cheating.
okay,
I'm talking about cheating, like a little bump in the box.
Yes, no.
Hands in the
little
push.
It's about wasting time. Goalkeepers love doing that. But I'm just like, play clean.
Yeah,
play fair,
clean,
fair play.
But take it to the edge. That's what you do. But don't
get caught.
Don't do a high clothesline tackle.
Yeah,
Don't take someone's head off. Yeah, don't hurt people.
Yeah.
Exactly. Coming up after the break, we're going to be speaking to a Manchester United fan.
Shame. I don't know if he's a fan still. We'll find out soon.
We'll speak slowly, use small words, and draw pictures.